Just to
Where's
double
that
check,
now?
I need some more spray.
Mike,
Hey,
just to double check. Mark's out of 20, yeah?
please, yep.
And as many 20s as I deem
Yes.
appropriate.
Yeah. As long as it's less than 67 20s, we might let you off.
Oh. It won't be that many. Won't be far short, mind you.
Oh. That comes.
You get 20.
I hope you get 18.
Thank you very much. You should be wanting me to get 20s.
I want to beat you though. I want to make my mum proud.
Anyway.
She didn't stick around.
Yeah, there's a long one.
Rihanna,
Not like you.
we all want to beat Eddie, but you might have more chance of doing it.
True.
I don't want to beat Eddie.
Hoping Eddie will lose.
Well, we had a little contest on a spider this week, and she did beat me. Her spider was better than my spider.
Yeah.
He's like my dad. He's got a phobia to spiders, and I'm showing him big.
Yeah, Brianna's spider was better than mine. So I had to go to flies again today.
Aye.
Have you seen many, Eddie?
Flies? There were
Yeah.
loads today.
Well, I couldn't find many.
They were beautiful. Well,
Yeah.
some of them are ugly.
The hardest thing I had problems with today, because there was no contrast, was actually focusing.
Right.
That was the hardest bit, but
Well, we've certainly got enough images of insects tonight, haven't we?
Lichens.
We like our insects, don't we?
Yeah, like bugs. Bugs
Yeah.
looks good.
I haven't got any insects. Not tonight.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and
Because
we're
we've all been
about right.
in our gardens.
Oh.
And people, ducks.
No, don't tell people.
Okay. So we've got 23 online. So we'll make a start. Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
And tonight is our second quarterly, and we welcome Keith Barber. Keith is a fellow of the Institute of Science and Technology. He has got a CPA BG. He's got EFIAP and a BPE 3. So I think he is, well, what's the word? Not the one that I was going to say.
Qualified?
I'm not going to say the one that I was going to say.
Good.
That sounded rather as I thought it. I thought, no, I'm not going to say that.
No, don't say that one, Wendy.
No,
Qualified.
it began with an E, so I'm not saying it. Anyway, welcome to Keith.
You?
Okay.
Mike is going to be our compare tonight, and he's going to mute everybody. We will have a break at around 8:30, and this is going to be recorded and will be available on YouTube. Mike, you're going to put it on?
I will. I will.
Okay. So we've got 67 images. So smiley faces, no frowny faces. You might not agree with what Keith says, but we have invited him here to give us our opinion. So smile. I would normally say keep your comments to yourselves, but you're all going to be on mute, so that's fine.
I've got three screens here and not enough everything I need. Just
Okay.
Just a slight correction to the distinctions, Wendy.
Yeah.
I would love the latter ones that you gave me, but I don't possess them.
Somebody told me they were what you had, so my apologies.
CPAGB LRPS and the fellow of the Institute of Science and Technology. So I don't want to claim more qualifications than I've got. Might be done under the Trades Descriptions Act. No, thank you.
Okay then. We will correct our list wherever we got it from.
I don't know where that's come from. It's the wrong barber, put it that way.
Yeah, I guess so.
Not to worry.
Not to worry.
We worry about nothing.
Okay.
Right, let me.
Are we ready to roll?
We are just. I'm just about to shut everybody up if I can
You're right, Mike.
persuade it to. Gone. Where's it gone?
Right.
All my participants have gone. Just a second. Let me bring them up this way. There we go. Put them all again. Right, I'll shut everybody up. Apart from. Oh.
Keith, you can unmute yourself. If you go down to the bottom of your screen and hover over, you can unmute yourself. There you go.
Got lost you. Moving.
Keith's not muted now.
Good. Excellent.
Okay.
Right.
Right, over to you, Keith.
Okay, well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for inviting me to judge for you. Judged at Chatterton at the club for you a few times to date. I always love a visit to your club. You're one of the most welcoming and sociable clubs that.
Ooh, get off. Ooh.
It's my pleasure. A little bit about myself for those that haven't experienced my judging before. Worked in technology all my working life, from leaving school right through Salford University and Manchester University, where I finished up as head of technical services for the School of Material Science. And during my formative days in engineering at Salford University, I was responsible for the technical support for several research projects. And in doing so, I had to take photographs of the specimens, etc., that we were mechanically and physically testing. Needless to say, in those days, it was all black and white, it was all monochrome, and I had access to the department's dark rooms. Also, needless to say, I spent a hell of a lot of time doing my own work in those dark rooms rather than the university's work, but we won't go there. I want to make it clear that I try to be as constructive as I possibly can, even with the worst of images, and find something positive to say. I think as a judge, you owe that to workers. If workers have took the trouble to join a club, take a photograph and enter a competition, you at least owe them the service of trying to be positive about their work. However, and it is a big however, I do think that sometimes it's possible for people to get a little bit confused, and if a judge says this is good or that is good, etc., but then it doesn't win or it doesn't get in the top 3 placings, that can sometimes be a little bit confusing to some people. And I try to qualify that by saying that, yes, images have to be technically competent as far as I'm concerned when I'm looking at them. But just as importantly, or more importantly for me, they've got to have that immediate impact when first viewed. A good image is not just technically competent, it has to convey a message, create an emotion in the worker. And if it does that, and it's technically competent thereafter, then it stands a hell of a good chance of doing well. So I tend to look at images for that initial impact and that wow factor, if you want to call it that. They either move you or they don't. And they give you a message. And I must admit, several of these images that I've already seen, the 67 images, they convey messages in oodles Okay, in some instances, it's only that wow factor. Wow, that is good. Wow, I wish I'd have taken something like that. But the ones that do well create a little bit more of an emotion than that and convey something. It might well be a feeling of, in a landscape, peace, tranquility, serenity. It might well be in a creative image, you know, the artistic merits of an image, and so on and so forth. So I will go through the images. The ones I wish to retain and hold back are not going to score less than 18. And there's a good few of them, I'll tell you, because as I say, the quality is as good as anything I've seen in a good while now. And I average judging, this will be about my 9th session by Zoom alone. But when we were visiting clubs as judges, I was averaging at least 1, possibly 2 nights a week most weeks. So I've seen a lot of images. And this standard at Oldham PS is exceptionally good. Right, I'll shut up now and get on with the real job for the night. Okay, number 1, please, Mike.
Do you want to run through all the images first so everybody has a look?
Right, yeah, beg your pardon. Let's see the 67. Yeah.
Hit the button on. Because it does.
Is it just me, but I can't see nothing apart from you, Mike?
No, have you shared your screen, Mike?
Ah! Right, okay. Share the right one. Don't show the right one, you won't see it. Tell you what, let's start
There we
again.
go. Something's happening. There we go.
Let's go. In and hit the button. Right. I'm watching it on mine, but not seeing anybody else's. You're not seeing it, I mean. Can't tell from here what's shared and what isn't. You all see that now, can you?
Yeah, we're running through them now, Mike.
Brilliant.
Right.
Ooh.
I told you there were some good images, didn't I? Incredibly fabulous. Right. You've certainly done that.
Oh, I want to start at the beginning because I believe it's a very good place to start.
It usually is, Mike. Yeah.
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 Okay. With this image, Chink in the Rock. Love the colours in this. I love the strata lines that we've got in the rock, all going sort of along the rock face there to the end. And we have got a little bit of a focal point in that little bit of shrub or whatever it is, that plant that's clinging on for dear life there in what looks like very arid and dry conditions. And as I say, the colour is good, the detail is good, the tonal range is pretty much of a muchness given the colour of the rock, and that's excusable. And we've got a little bit of light coming through from the top of the picture down in little rays there down to the top third. And then we go round the corner into that void, that dark void. And there's part of me wondering, you know, just how far in this goes. But given the constraints on the worker involved, they've done a reasonable job. Compositionally, it works. The perspective is good. And we're going to start off with a 16 for that one. 16, 1-6.
Do we all want to know what's who's he by? I don't know why I ask because he always do. Right. Oh, that one. Moving on. Early start.
Yeah, this one's got quite an ethereal feel to it. It's lit relatively well where the horse is and the rider. Then we've got the snow on the ground there, so we've got some detail in the shadow areas as well. And given that it's fairly dark throughout, it does give one the impression of a you know, that period, that particular era in history. And in that context, it does, you know, help convey a message. I just feel that the pose of the guy on the horse is, if I may say so, a little bit posed, let's put it that way. I think maybe if they'd been in the act of doing something, it would have had a little bit more of impact and a message. The detail in it is good. It's lovely and sharp throughout. As I say, the dull tones that we've got, the muted tones of colour that is in it, it's almost monochromatic, but not quite. But that does, as I say, give it the feel of an old picture. And that's going to get 16 as well.
That is thanks. Can you all see the titles coming up?
Yep.
Good.
Moment to reflect. And yeah, I say this often about white plumaged birds and white furred animals. They can be notoriously difficult to get detail into those highlighted areas. And we've achieved that reasonably well in this image. But for me, I think perhaps it would have been a little bit more impacting on the eye if we'd have been able to wait a second or longer, or prior to actually hitting the shutter in this instance. And if we could have got one of the eyes of the adult swan I think it would have been a lovely shot. That would have just completed it. The signet on the back of the swan is literally looking straight down the lens, and that's good. And the two into the side of the adult preening themselves, we can see their eyes as well. And I think they are fine. Had mum or dad, I think it's mum, also been able to see their eyes, or one at least, then it would have a little bit more impact. I like the darkish background that we've got. Full marks to the worker as well for capturing the whole of the reflection, including the top of the adult swan's head. Very often see these sort of images where even the title contains reflection, but actually some of the reflection is missing, and it's not in this instance. So that's a very, very good point. I do think, though, that with some images like this where we've got that dark background, the addition of a very narrow border in white, preferably white, but another colour of your choice, provided it's in keeping with the overall image itself. But I do feel in this case a narrow border around the picture would at least tell us where the canvas size begins and where the actual image begins in one or two spots, particularly towards the top of the picture. Other than that, it's a good attempt at a shot of these signets with mum. So I'm going to give that one 15.
That's Mark's. Bad hair.
Yeah, someone's not very happy, are they? A look of concern, consternation. Yeah, I like the fact that we've got the model, or the lady, the young girl in question, actually looking straight down the lens. So there's a connectivity there with the worker, the air flowing, the hair flowing there from the head. Also gives you a little something which takes you away ever so slightly from the face, but the face is so dominant, you don't stay away from it too long. I also like the very, very plain, muted background, which is not interfering at all with the eye concentrating on the lady in question. Good natural skin tones as well, and that's important. No burnt out highlights on the face especially, and so technically wise it's pretty competent. Just feel it lacks a little bit of passion, not quite giving me, conveying a message of in the pose of, you know, what's probably perhaps troubling her, or what she's looking so serious about. Yeah, it is up against some stronger images as well, as we see, or we have seen already. I'm going to give that one 16 though.
That's Liz. Chetham's
Library. Yeah, I like the angle that this has been taken at, down this corridor of bookshelves, and the detail in it is very, very good indeed. The detail is very sharp, right the way through from the right hand side all the way down to the door at the bottom of that corridor, let's call it. It's also, again, similar to the horse image and the rider. It gives you the impression with the colorization in it that it is an old building, which of course it is, and that's well conveyed. I just feel maybe a person at the end, either coming to the door, or going to the door I should say, or coming through the door, or possibly, you know, even midway down, taking an interest in their surroundings, may have just helped a little bit more to concentrate one's eye on. In every other respect, fine, beautiful detail in it, and the lighting. Below the the sort of amber colours we've got, though. We get this sort of bluiness in the picture. And something inside me says that that's not quite accurate in terms of what the conditions would have been like, unless of course it's a beautifully blue sky. We have got some blue light coming through those ceiling windows there, so maybe that's what's being reflected back onto those shiny surfaces. Other than that, yeah, a reasonably good attempt. I like the perspective, I like the viewpoint, and the detail is good. I'm going to give that one 16.
And that's Gwen's. The home fire's burning.
Yeah, nice natural colours throughout this picture. Good detail in the face of the gentleman, the whiskers, the hair, the moustache. I like the fact that he's got his hands in his pockets and looks quite relaxed, so it's conveying a message of a relaxed gentleman by the fireside there, with the old-fashioned iron on and the kettle, days of yore. So there's a little bit of a message there from another era, perhaps. I'm going to give that 17.
That one is by Gwen. Red-tailed bumblebee.
Well, loads of pictures of insects tonight, and the vast majority of them, if not all of them except this one, are effectively on something, crawling on something or whatever. This one's actually in flight. This bee's in flight, and that's, for me, very, very good. And full marks to the worker for actually stopping this bee in mid-flight, approaching the flowers in question, and to capture so much detail in that is quite remarkable. And yeah, they might not be moving that fast, but macro shots at the best of times are difficult to get detail throughout. Yes, the tops of the wings are a little bit blurred, but they are, flapping about like billy-ho, especially if it's hovering. And so that's totally acceptable, totally acceptable. So we're going to keep this one back, please, Mike.
That one? Fetch, Shep.
Fetch, Shep. Yeah, somebody's dog, enjoying itself, ball in mouth and in midair. So again, we've pressed the shutter at precisely the right moment to capture the mood and this pooch having a real good time with its owner. Good natural colours, good detail in the fur. It's a good image of its type, but it is, and I will say this several times tonight, so please excuse me, it is up against some very, very, very good images. That's not to say that technically this isn't competent, because it is. So I'm going to give that one 15.
And that's us. Gannets.
Yeah, gannets. Exceptionally good natural colours and tones in this one. We as judges very often see sometimes what workers don't see, and that is potentially oversaturation to try and create more impact and more visual impact. Sometimes workers tend to oversaturate images slightly, and in some instances even worse. But in this one, these colours are absolutely spot on, and I like the fact that we've got, the gannet on the right, pecking away there under the throat of its partner, and well seen, well captured. the sea behind them, nicely muted, not interfering. Good detail in the rocks as well that they're on. 17 for that one.
And that's Sandra's. Relaxing with
Relaxing with pipe. Yeah, another image that's trying to convey another era of the gentleman with his pipe, his clay pipe in his mouth, and the eye patch. It was quite common in those days for people to have, you know, accidents or otherwise and lose sight of one eye or even both. There was no Safety at Work Act then, Health and Safety at Work Act. And it's a good attempt at a sort of period record of this individual from that period. Just feel, for me, this image could have just been slightly darkened a bit in shadows and highlights, just to certainly bring out a little bit more detail in that face, which looks very, very interesting indeed. It may possibly work better in colour, this image, perhaps, maybe not. At least in monochrome, it does give you a feeling for that era. So that's maybe good. But yeah, it just needed toning down a little bit, either in levels or in shadows and highlights. So 15 for that one.
That's Gwyn's. The singer.
Yeah, he's really belting it out, isn't he? We've captured the moment of him belting out a song. It looks as though he's singing. At least he could be telling a joke, but maybe not. Good detail in it. We've caught the perspiration on his forehead there and in his scalp. I just feel with this one, we've got a lot going on to the right beyond the doorway there to the right, space that isn't really contributing anything to the picture. Perhaps a square format would have helped a bit more. In every other respect, it's sharp enough. The monochromatic tones are good, through from the whites right through to the very, very black, dark blacks in that doorway and beyond. And the addition of the very narrow, in this instance, border does help. But I just feel there's a little bit too much to the right of the picture that's unnecessary. So 14 for that one. Never be afraid to crop an image.
And that's Vin's. Darling fledgling being fed.
Yeah, always good if you can actually get wildlife physically in the act of doing something, as these two birds are doing. The adult feeding the fledgling, which is nearly as big as the adult almost. So it'll be having to fend for itself very soon. And again, good, absolutely perfect natural colours in this one. And there we've got the adult with something in its beak about to pass on to its youngster, and its foot of the adult just off the surface there gives you a little bit more of a feel of activity within the shot. And as I say, good detail throughout. We've got that sort of iridescent tones that one gets with the light from the light on the adult starling's plumage. Well captured and well seen, and we've hit the shutter at precisely the right moment. So we're going to keep that one back, please.
Hoverfly.
Yeah, hoverfly. There is a plethora of very, very good macro shots of insects and the like here tonight, and this one's okay. On another night in another competition with less to compete against, it may well have done better than I'm going to mark it. But I do feel that it does lack a little bit of detail, particularly on the back of the fly. Behind the head, it's just going a little bit soft, and I totally accept you'll be very difficult to get. Although one or two workers have as well achieved that tonight in some of their images, as we will see. but this one for me, it's not quite as strong as some of the others. Only slightly, but not quite. The colours in it are good, quite natural. I love the very, very plain, non-interfering background that we've got in this picture, and it's soft, muted focus and tones. So it's going to get 17.
And that's Malcolm's. Sparrowhawk.
Yep. If this sparrowhawk is going to fly off anywhere, it's going to fly off from where it's perched to our right. So I congratulate the worker in this instance with a subject that's likely to move or fly off in this case. It's good to give some space in the direction that bird or animal or object, subject matter is going to move into. So compositionally, very well handled. The plumage for me seems, I think, certainly along the breast could have just been a little bit darker. I think just darken that off ever so slightly, and it would have been a little bit stronger. The detailing is good. The colours are fairly accurate and natural, and I like the fact that we've got that very, very sharp, beady center of focus and focal point of the eye that we're looking at. That's more visible than the other one in the bird. So that gets us 17.
And that's Gwen's. Lauren the Goth.
Lauren the Goth. Yeah. I don't think I'd like to upset this young lady. I think she could be quite responsive to any criticism, etc., etc. She looks quite serious. On this particular picture, though, I think I'd just like to have seen that eye, the white of the eye especially, not so much the iris, but the white of it, just a little bit more penetrating, just to convey that slightly threatening look that we've got. And I think then it would have done a little bit better than I'm going to score it. Again, the workers very well added a very narrow border to the image, and that works. They've included the shoulder to the right, the lady's left. That's good, I think, because it gives us some more idea, some definition of where she is in the frame, so to speak. I just feel that the eye could have been a little bit more penetrating in brightness. So I'm going to give Lauren the Goth 16.
And that's Finn's. Dennis.
Yeah, you know, the detail in this is good. The grasses, those wooden trunk stumps that have been hammered into the sand dune there to connect the fencing to. And we got a lovely lead in all the way from the bottom left on the picture, right slap bang into the middle of the picture. And then my eye is looking for something to fix on. And it's such a shame because all we've got is the surf. But where the sand dunes stop, middle of the picture, with the grass, beyond that, there is nothing that is keeping me looking in that direction. And I find that such a shame. The tones, the sky, reasonable. There's no cloud in it as such, but we've got a little bit of differential color, tonal range in there. And then we've got the surf, as I say. If we had a person down there or a dog or something, you know, just at the end of that grass, that leading, that lovely natural leading, it would have been all the better. And it's a shame, it really is. That's all it's lacking. And because of that, I'm going to have to score it a little bit low. So 14, unfortunately.
That's Jill's. Dragon Child.
Well, yeah, I love that bright light behind the girl, behind the lady, which concentrates one's eye on her with her hands and arms in the air, staring this beast in the eye, quite literally. And you know, those teeth, they look so threatening. And I love the slightly muted colours we've got in this, and the mist that we've got floating around the bottom. This is a fabulous image of its type. Very, very creative, very, very technically competent and well handled. So guess what? We're keeping that one back.
Okay, that one. Juvenile Robin.
Yeah, good detail in it. Love the catch light in the eye. Good natural tones again, and we've captured the plumage of this young male robin very, very well before it gets its adult plumage. So that's all to be complimented. It is up against, as I say, some very, very strong images. So it's not going to get in the top 3, but it's still well worth 17.
That's Malcolm's. Bill. Bug. Fly.
Possilithobossus. Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, Latin name supplied.
No, yeah. Superb detail in this. This is up there with some of the best macro insect shots. I find it though a little bit bright, perhaps done with toning down ever so slightly. And the detail in it though, it is good nevertheless. It looks as though it's on some sort of a holly leaf, a dried up one for that matter. But you know, the detail in that is very good. Even to the cells in the eye we can see. So that one's going to get held back as well.
That one. Find the.
Well, this is a very emotive picture. I like the idea immensely of the mask of the girl's face being held as it is by her left hand, with the finger and thumb placed very strategically either side of the mouth, not across it. And we've still got enough of the girl's face behind that mask, with that very, very penetrating blue eye looking straight at us. And down her cheek is running a tear. And this is great. This is a beautiful image. Beautiful, good detail in the hair, right up onto the top of the scalp there, we've got detail. And the skin tones, very, very natural, and a great idea, well executed, and dealt with extremely competently. So we're keeping that one back, Mike, please.
We'll hold that one. My doctor.
Oh, good God, he's
Handsome chap.
Yeah. Yeah, very sort of atmospheric, ethereal, scary. Well, he's scary at the best of times, but when he's dressed up like this, what I do like about this picture is how the face of the model is lighter in tone and tonal range, and indeed colour, than the two objects, the skull that he's holding up on the staff, and the other object in his right hand, and the background being sort of almost focused out of focus, if you like, and muted, and down to his gown almost disappearing there into the floor below, gives that, yeah, it conveys a message almost threatening, but no, he's too gentle a soul. But no, the worker has achieved, I think, what they were intending to achieve very, very well indeed. Again, though, I think a border might have helped a little bit, just a little bit, but not as much as it would on some of the other images that I hasten to add. So my doctor will keep that one back.
That one. Table hand.
Yeah, love the expression on the chap's face. It really is good, and there's a connectivity there with me, certainly. And the fact that, you know, the angle of his face is on the same angle as the horse. And there's, you know, there's almost a mutual feeling between the person and the horse being so calm and cool and collected. And the eyes in that man are so penetrating and beautifully coloured and white. And throughout, we've got all his bristles and his moustache and all his pores in his skin, beautifully detailed, as is the horse. Although there seems to be a little bit of noise, perhaps, in the horse, but it doesn't detract that much from the overall impression that I think the worker was trying to create. Maybe if we'd have included the horse's ears all the way up to the top, might have been a bit better, but hey ho. What we're really concerned with here is the face of the gentleman with his bowler hat on, and indeed the face of the horse for that matter. So we keep that one back as well.
Doc Beetle. Latin name support.
Yeah. Yeah. This one for me, I think, of one of the many macro images we've got, insect images we've got, this could have been a little tad sharper. And I know we get sort of these iridescent, almost, iridescent is the word, reflective tones of beetle jackets, black ones especially. But I think in this instance, they're a little bit bluey to be not quite natural. In every other respect, the muted background is okay. Yes, the far antennae is blurred because it's moving. And, you know, this is what they do. So we can't always get macro shots perfect throughout their focal range. It's a reasonable attempt, but not quite up there with some of your others, unfortunately. But it's still worth 16.
And that's Ron's phone call.
Good monochrome image. I like the fact that the model is actually doing something, i.e. the title, holding the phone, taking a call or about to. I like the fact that we've got this beautiful lighting coming through the louvred blinds as well onto the model's face. And, you know, the light is such that it's not burnt out. We've still got detail there in the blonde hair to her right eye, our left as we look at it. And a good monochrome image in terms of its tonal range, nice and sharp throughout where it needs to be. Good pose, well captured. Keep that one back too, please. Stroll on the beach. Yeah, and the pelican in question, is it a pelican or a storm? A pelican, I think, moving right to left, so we've got space for that to move into. Good natural colours. Even some of the natural history shots we've got tonight are a little bit stronger than this one, and that's not to say that this isn't competent. It's a good shot of its type. The colours in the bird itself are natural. Like the fact that we've actually got the eye as well. It's not turning away from shot, so that's helps us to focus on the head and the bill of the bird. But as I say, not quite as strong as some of your other entries. 15.
That's Brian's Don't look at me.
Yeah, love the pose. And look at those eyes. What lets this down just a shade is if we go to the bottom left of that wing, we're losing a little bit of sharpness there, a little bit of detail. But what we're really interested in is that head and those eyes, and the top of that head, the plumage on the top of there is pin sharp. And the background totally non-interfering with what we're concentrating on. So I like the idea that the workers homed in and concentrated for the most part mainly on that head and those eyes. That gets 15.
Dean. And that's Sandra's. Soldier.
Another monochrome image, and another reasonable portrait of this soldier. Looks like a GI, and you know, the detail in it is good. The monochrome tones are good from through the range. Like the eyes, it's the eyes that have it for me, and I like the pose with the pistol, the gun up there to the side of his head. Gives you sort of a relatively potentially threatening message. 16.
Dean. That's Brian's. Watching the visitors.
Love the expression on this monkey's face, and the artistic treatment that this has been given with those muted sort of grasses all around it, and yet the detail in the monkey, in the fur of the monkey itself, is pretty darn good. I just feel that overall it might have helped a little bit, possibly, had it been just a little bit darker overall. But that's not to say it's not a cracking image, because it is. And I like the expression on the monkey. A little bit different to looking straight down the lens of the worker in question, looking to the one side. There's something caught its attention, and that's been well captured. Maybe a little bit too much going on the left of the picture, but hey ho, again, if this monkey's going to get up and wander off, that's the direction it's going to go in. So unless it's cheeky and it comes towards the worker. So overall, competent, well handled, very artistic and creative in terms of making a nature shot look more artistic. So relatively competently well achieved. So we'll keep that one back, please.
Okay. That one. Lawn tree.
Yeah, the path is an excellent lead in to the individual coming towards us. I like the positioning of the tree on the right to middle of the picture, and that's superly captured the two wispy clouds over to the right, which gives it a balance in terms of the composition. So we've got a, you know, that's not to say that the rule of thirds can't be broken. They can be broken, but more often than not, that, you know, they work for an image. And in this instance, the clouds and the tree being placed where they are up there in the top of the picture work a treat. We've got good detail throughout, good natural colours, and the person walking towards us is a focal point. However, there's some much stronger images here tonight, but that's not to say that it's not worthy of a 16. I'll give that one 16.
And that's Brianna's. Stanley.
It's quite amusing, isn't it? I love the expression, chin up, and the little tiny catchlight we've got there in the eye that we can see. The background as well, not interfering, and good detail in the dog itself. So it's quite amusing. So it conveys, you know, a message in that regard. 17.
Stanley is Malcolm's. Edward.
Edward Scissorhands. Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to cross him, do you? I like the light that's behind the head and the shoulders, and the lighting on the face as well. All helps one to focus in on that face. And then we get down to the bottom of the picture, either side of his legs. It's very, very dark and black, and that's fine. But again, I think this is one of those images where a very narrow white border would have helped greatly in separating the image from its canvas. And it's a shame that we've not been able to do that. But anyway, a reasonable monochrome image, well posed, well captured. 16.
And that's Karen's.
Yep. Again, reasonably good natural colours in this one. We've hit the shutter again, repeating myself at precisely the right moment on this shot. We may have took lots of the bird in question on the day that this has been taken, but this one works in terms of the eye, in terms of the beak slightly open. Again, good natural colours, nice and sharp. And we've even got some detail there in the throat, the white on the throat. That gets 17.
And that's Malcolm's. Oh, good.
Final goodbye. Yeah. This is quite a moody shot. And I like the fact that the portrait on the wall is behind the individual, and the suitcase on the floor actually confirms the title, The Final Goodbye. And I think the message that's trying to be conveyed, and I hope I'm right, is that this particular individual, excuse me, is leaving. So that's conveyed very well. I like the muted tones as well. There's no garish colours in this that are detracting one from concentrating on what we are, what is depicted, I should say. So that gets 17 as well. And someone's requesting, is it you, Wendy? Are we ready for a break?
That's Eddie's. Whenever you are ready. Fine.
Yeah, we're around halfway through, aren't we? So we can have a quick 10-minute break now and then carry on.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So back in 22.
22, 9.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
You're all very quiet. Are you all muted?
Yeah, I think they're muted apart from you, Leslie.
Well, I think you must have muted us, Mike, because I was unmuted and
Yep. I
I
did.
think
The sound of munching was quite disconcerting.
What about slurping? Eddie's slurping disconcerting as well.
Yeah.
Only way to drink coffee, slurping.
Oh, Oh, shit.
Now.
That's it. I think Andrea needs to put money in the swear box. Andrea, you need to put money in the swear box.
You're not supposed to be in here. Escape. You're not supposed to be in here. Say bye-bye. No? Okay. Come on.
Biscuit. Have you named after a Kit Kat?
Come on. Sorry about that. We got breaking into.
You want to give it a mute? No. Drag that right to that corner.
Oh God.
Okay, I make it just gone 22. So most people should be back, I hope. I was just doing a quick flick through and I think most people are back. So Keith, if you're
Ready
ready,
to roll?
yep, we'll make a start. So Mike, if you can mute everybody, please.
And
Thank you.
Number 34. In Too Deep.
okie doke. There we go. And run that one. So let's In Too Deep.
Yeah, In Too Deep. Again, a bird, heron, I think, captured. Detail in the plumage is very, very good. I like the eye, the beak, good natural colours. And we've virtually got, yeah, we've virtually got the whole of the reflection there. Yeah, a reasonably good enough attempt. I'm going to give this 15 though. It's not quite up there with some of the others.
And that kills. Frosty Sunset.
Yeah, you've got to get up early in the morning to get these sort of shots, and you know it's the frost is crisp, and that comes across. The detail in the ground, in the grass. We've got superb foreground lead-ins there with those rocks, those boulders in the water. Nicely positioned, the gap between the one at the bottom to that little gap of water, and my eyes are going straight through from that gap right across the water. Got some lovely tones in the water as well, reflected from the sky, warm tones, right the way into the very, very far distance with what I can just about make out to be a telecommunications mast. I think it is of some description. There's something on the top of that hill, that mountain anyway. Well captured. I like as well the trees over to the middle left top of the picture with that lovely warm sunny sky, sunrise sky, I suspect it is, behind them, lovely silhouetted And again, that acts as a good focal point, as does the building in question as well. And, you know, very, very good natural colours. Nothing's oversaturated. So we'll keep that one back as well, please.
Okay. Nymphs in the wood. Sorry, nymphs in the wood.
Yeah, two nymphs, a lady and the one above her. Love the pose, love the treatment that this has been given, the artistic treatment to give that sort of painterly effect, if you like, behind the individual, and yet certainly the upper body part, the face, and the arm coming down there by the belly tutu, I think it is, and the angle that she's looking up at that nymph, that airborne nymph, perfect. So we'll keep that one back as well.
Yoke. That one. Blue tits with nesting material.
I said earlier about birds and animals doing something always makes for a picture of them far, far more interesting. And I can't fault this. This is brilliant. The diagonal of the stick in question, and the two blue tits, sorry, great tits, I think they are, yeah. Plucking away there at, no, they are the blue tits, sorry. Plucking away there at that nesting material, which they're going to take back with them for the nest. And the colours in this are absolutely spot on. You very often see pictures of this breed of bird where the colours are totally oversaturated, and they're not like that in real life. In real life, they are this colour. So well done the worker for getting that colour right. And just look at the detail in those heads, pin sharp, to coin an expression. So we'll keep that one back as well, please.
Yeah. It's Revelations.
Wow. Somebody's been in a war zone, haven't they? On a demolition site. And this individual, the redness in it stands out. And then we've got this slightly orangey, pinky mist to the floor, and then in the sky above him. And again, a lovely creative image, well created, very competently handled and processed. We keep that one back as well, please.
Okay. Preparation.
Yeah, I feel this just a tad on the bright side, but if you then go up to the dancer's face, the model's face, that's a shade darker, which helps. It helps concentrate and helps one focus on the head. Yeah, another artistic, creative image. And the brightness coming through there from the window as well. Sat down on the floor there as she is, gazing down, reasonable enough pose. So we'll keep that one back for now, please.
Answer. Surprise!
Yeah, surprise. She certainly looks surprised and delighted at the same time. And again, it's the eyes. The eyes have it in portraiture for me, looking straight down the lens so that the pose is good. The background muted so as not to interfere. And again, good natural skin tones, good detail in the hair, in the bun on the top. Don't quite get in the top three though, because I think some of the others are a bit stronger, but it's still worth 17.
17. Green. 18. And that's Brianna's. The Saviour.
The Saviour. Yeah. Love the fact that the guy carrying the poor victim there is looking straight into the face, all pity and sadness. And then we get to behind the two individuals, and we've got that mist, that atmospheric condition with the moon just peeping through there at the top, giving us a little bit of interest over to the left above the lady's feet. And good soft coloured tones help create that impression, but we've got good detailed tonal range as well in the faces, so that's definitely a good plus point. So I'm keeping that one back as well.
Okay, we'll hold that. Common damselflies.
Amazing. Again, risk of repeating myself, but I'm going to say it. You know, they're in the process, in the act of doing something. That always helps give a little bit more interest to images such as this, and the detail in this picture of the two damselflies is fantastic, right the way through from the hairs on the back of the upper one down to right to the very bottom, to the lace wings of the bottom one, and good, again, natural colours of the insects and the foliage that they are on. So that one's getting kept back as well.
Okay. Damsels. Focus tears.
Yeah. This is a very, very emotive image. It's up there with the one of the young girl holding what is effectively a mask of her face, a duplicate, and this is quite moving, this picture. The sadness in those eyes and the tear coming down the cheek there beneath the right hand eye. And I'm not bothered in the least that this head of this individual is over to the left, because the eyes are taking me from them across slightly and down to my right. So that works for me. And the tones throughout and the detail in the skin, incredible, absolutely incredible, and a very, very moving image, if I might say so. Yep, the tears of a clown. We'll keep that one back as well, please. Sorry, Joker's tears.
In that one, move on to
Please.
juvenile spotted woodpecker.
Yeah, another bird shot, and you know, it's okay. It would grace any reference book on birds, and you know, again, good detail in it, good natural colours. But I think there are some slightly better. I'm going to put this more images, nature images with slightly more impact than this one. And that's not to say it's not a good image, because it is, as I said earlier. It would grace any reference book on the species, so that's okay. But it's not going to get in the higher scorers. I'm going to give it 16 though.
16. And that's Max. Motherhood.
Yeah. Again, not easy to get the detail in these swans, the white feathers. In this one, we just about make out the eye of the adult swan there, looking after her cygnets. Yeah, there's a connectivity there. Good detail as well. Slightly burnt out on the the back or the wing of the adult there, which, you know, with white feathered birds is, it's not easy to keep the detail in there. It's a little bit, but not quite as much as there is throughout the rest of the white feathers. So I'm gonna let that one go with a 15.
15. And that's Malcolm's. Golden Blackbird.
Yeah. And again, this bird, we've got a lovely catch light in the eye. Risk of repeating myself, good natural tones throughout. A little bit on the light side. I think it could have been just darkened off ever so slightly throughout the picture. Not just the bird itself, but a reasonable enough attempt. 16.
Ox. Joker.
The Joker. Like the positioning with the window behind there and the Joker holding up the cards in question, and, you know, that almost inquisitive, threatening look on the Joker's face that you would get with the character in question. Slightly sinister feel to the picture, well captured, good colours, good tones throughout, nice detail, and love the pose. We keep that one back as well, please.
And red damselfly with Latin name supplied.
Yep, and a very good red damselfly as well. And super detail right the way through, right from the eyes down on its back, the wings, right down to the very, very tip of its body and its tail, and superbly captured on this leaf with a totally and utterly non-intrusive background. So we're keeping that one back as well.
We've got a large red damselfly.
Yeah, if I might say so, I think possibly, I may be wrong, but I think the workers got a little bit caught between two stools here, in as much as the main element in this picture is the head, the thorax, and then it's chopped off halfway down the length of its body. And I think, you know, unlike the one previously, we've got the whole of the insect, and I think that one works slightly better for me than this one, because it's not complete, as we say. What we do see of it, though, is very, very good. We've got excellent detail on the head, the eyes, the proboscis there. We can see with the little claws that help it take stuff into its mouth, and then the little tiny hairs on the back. So in that respect, it's a reasonable shot. But I do feel I would personally like to have seen the whole of the insect. That's not to say that it's not a good shot, competently handled. 17.
And that'll be Ron's. Duckling.
Yeah. Again, the eye has it. It's that eye on the duckling that we immediately focus on. Paddling away there on the water, the reflection is a total reflection, I should say, although the ripples from its movement is causing a bit of movement on the water. Super detail in the plumage, and it's okay. It's a good shot, but it's not going to get into the top 3 marks. Unfortunately, I'm going to give that one. Where are we? Let me think. Yeah, go on. I'll give it 16.
And that's Brianna's. Green bottle.
Another cracking insect shot. And although we've got the iridescent tones of the green there on the green bottle's body, they are natural. They are not, overly coloured, if I can say so. And then we look at the eye, and we can even see the little cells in the eye, and then the detail of the hairs on the back. And it's virtually sharp right the way through that picture, as good as. So guess what? We're keeping that one back.
We'll hold the other fly. Lilith.
Yeah, very threatening, very ethereal, very sinister, with the individuals in the background angling towards the main focal point, which is the lady in question with those bright, I should say, eyes, which, even though there's no pupil in them, they are still penetrating. They are still jumping out at the viewer, and yeah, almost threatening. Good detail again, good natural skin tones. I like the mistiness that's been given to the picture, all helping to create that feeling of sinister, how can I put it? Intention. That was the word I was looking for. So, yeah, we'll keep that one back as well, please, Mike.
You can hold the demon, but I'm not going to. Scary for me. Spectacular sunrise.
Yeah, it is a good sunrise. We've got the mist on the water. We've got a sky beautifully reflecting in a totally, utterly calm water surface, and that works. That's good. I just feel that this needs a little bit of a focal point, either a duck on the water or a bird or something, in flight across that misty sunrise that we've captured. There's just that element I think that this picture needs to just hold one's interest. Let's put it that way. But as a spectacular sunrise, yeah, 17.
Fox. Norwegian fjords night.
Yeah, again, we've got a beautiful lead in this picture with these ripples that go from the bottom of the picture almost to the center, and then one's eye goes down beyond into the left hand third, so to speak, middle left hand third, and then it's effectively a dead end. And I don't know whether it was possible. I don't know whether there was anything on the water causing that ripple or whatever. But it would have been nice if there'd have been a boat or something there, just at the end of that lovely arch, that curved leading. And I think the sky's very threatening. That's well captured. But there's a slight overall blueness to this picture that I think I know it's nighttime or approaching nighttime or what have you, but it just, for me, I think the tonal range is just a little bit bluey. I would have perhaps adjusted a little bit, and in so doing brought out a little bit more, albeit in subdued lighting, the greenness in the mountain sides. I know you get a blueness in skies, and I know you get that reflected in the water. But if you then get down to the very, very middle picture, we've got a blueness there, which for me is not quite natural. Not quite natural. I think the colour balance is perhaps needed tweaking just a touch. And it's just a pity about the focal point. But in every other respect, fine. Great sky, good detail in what we can see on the two mountain sides, and a lovely lead in, but it leads to a quite burnt out area as well on the water surface there, and maybe something on the surface there, a boat or something would have helped. So 16 for that one.
16. And that's Brian's. Another fly eating another fly.
Yeah. Again, insects.
Yeah.
And an insect doing something. Bit of cannibalism. But
Beat a bit of cannibalism.
sorry?
Can't beat a bit of cannibalism.
Oh, what are you like? Yeah, good detail throughout again. You know, the macro images here tonight, these insect images, they're just stunning. They really are. And we even got little tiny hair type follicles on the leaf even, which, you know, is incredibly detailed. So guess what?
I'm gonna hold that one.
We're keeping that one back.
Right, keep that one. And another bug.
And another
Before
bug.
or something.
Yeah, and this similar insect, I think, isn't it? Yeah, good detail in this as well, and good natural colours. The background, again, repeating myself for the umpteenth time this evening, totally non-interfering in what we're concentrating on, i.e. the fly. So that's getting kept back as well.
Yeah, hold on. Don't mess with me.
Yeah, good monochrome shot of this guy, this gangster, and you know the pose fits the title. Don't mess with me. We get the message, sir. The worker in this instance has added a very narrow border, which does help frame him and the overall image from its canvas. So that's good. A good monochrome tonal range throughout. 17.
70. That's Karen's. Look at.
Yeah, close up of the nuthatch's shoulder blade, if you like, and throat. But we've captured the eye, but yeah, it doesn't quite work for me, this one, I'm afraid. I understand, I think, what the worker was trying to achieve, but it's not quite come off for me. No, 14.
And that's Malcolm's. Mystical.
Yeah, another misty morning, and the sun rising there. What I like about this one as well is that, you know, the foliage on the tree, the woodwork, the railing there on the left hand side, and then the foreground, we've got plenty of foreground interest, and we've got a beautiful reflection in the water of the sun. And although we've got no central focal point in this picture apart from the sun, it works just a little bit better for me than the other one, the last sunrise that we got, in as much as there's plenty of other things going on within the image, but we still home in on that sun in the sky there, nicely positioned. So we're going to keep that one back as well, please, Mike.
Okay, well, that one. Female bug.
Female bug. Yeah. It's again, and you know, the insect itself is good, and reasonably detailed in it. I think it could have done with a little bit more saturation, this particular shot, just a shade more saturation, and I think that would have helped. It's okay. It's not bad. I do find the bottom left-hand corner, the angle going down with what it's, well, the wood, I think it is, it's squatted on. I find that blurriness there a little bit too much. It's that sort of blurriness that's, daft as it might sound, taking my eyes away from the bug itself. The blurriness up to the top left doesn't really matter, but when you've got on the diagonal there, the lines that in the wood grain, and then they suddenly become so blurred in the foreground, they are more intrusive, so to speak, and capturing one's interest than they I would prefer them to be. So I'm going to let that one go with a 15.
Andrea's. Wrong button there. Did I not? Excuse me just for one moment while I just recover this minor upcock. Oh. Right. Oh. Found. I've managed it. Well, there we go. Share that again. Right.
Okay.
Signet.
Signet was here.
Yep.
Similar shot to the other one we had, straight on along the beak and into the eyes of the Signet. A little bit burnt out highlights there on the top of the beak, as we can see, but the eyes are very good, and the plumage on the head, spiky, standing out against that very, very black background. Not quite up there with some of the other pictures. 15.
And that's Mark's.
Jane, yeah. Posing there with a little bouquet of flowers, and then the trail of flowers and leaves on her lap, and a nice pose underneath the face, underneath that hat. Good studio background, I think that's been used, and a good portrait, rather than the usual just sort of head and shoulders shot we get. This one, given that we've got this lovely decorative, ornate costume on, works quite well. Good skin tones again, good detail in the hair. Like to have seen the eyes a little bit more open, and therefore giving us a little bit more expression, but in every other respect, fine. 17.
And that's Karen's. Cottage windy.
A cottage window. Yeah, and again, the message is conveyed. It's through a window. We've got the focal point in the foreground of the vase of flowers, and although the detail through the leaded glass to the garden beyond is not detailed, we are nevertheless safe in the knowledge that it is a garden of some description. I love the lighting in this, and even on the white walls that we've got round the window, even though they are white and brightly lit, we've still got some detail in the rendering, the plasterwork there. it's not going to get in the top three though. It's okay. It's competently handled. 16.
That's Jules. Reflection.
Yeah, 4 forks or 4 candles. 4 candles. And for me, the handles are a little bit of a problem in this picture, in that we've got the reflection in the bottom of the picture of the forks handles, but they're not in the top of the picture. They disappear. Yes, I get the the idea that it's entitled reflection, but I would like to have seen a little bit less of the handles and maybe totally mirrored what we've got in the bottom, or I should say a little bit less, or totally mirror what we've got in the bottom of the picture at the top of the picture as well. And I think in terms of composition, that'd have been a little bit stronger for me. Good detail in the metalwork, in the forks, the addition of the white narrow border round works a treat. It helps separate out where the image starts and ends, etc., etc. So yeah, in that respect, fine, but not quite pressing the button for me. 14.
And that's Vin's. Female hoverfly.
Yeah, another insect. This isn't, unfortunately for the worker, going to get in the top 3 marks. It's close. It's very, very close. It's reasonable. Yeah, it's pretty sharp throughout. So it's just going a little tiny bit on the back. Not much, but just a shade, and not quite as dynamic as some of the others. 17. Good natural colours though.
18. That's Andrea's.
Wreck. Yeah. 4 marks to the worker for getting that horizon totally horizontal. Very often see them where they're sloping down from one side to the other, but that's relatively straight. Reasonable enough sky. The wreck is beautifully lit. I just think it's a little bit tight on the bottom. I'd like to have seen a little bit more of the mud or the sand that this wreck sat on underneath that bow, if you like. In every other respect, fine compositionally, apart from what I've just mentioned. Lovely detail throughout. It's sharp right the way from the very, very front of that wreck, even to that land that we see there over to the far mid right. So compositionally, okay, with the exception of I'd like to have seen a little bit more beneath that bow. Colours, totally and utterly natural, and a reasonable enough interesting sky. 17.
And that's Brian's. A dressmate.
Yeah, this isn't bad either. I just feel that we've got a little bit of detail coming out in the back behind the dressmaker in the background there on that the shelving and what have you. I'd just like to have seen just that little bit lighter in the shadows. Just brighten it. Brighten it just a shade. But I love the expression on her face. She looks fed up rather than interested, and obviously busy at work. A good image, a reasonable image, good detail, good natural colours again. Just feel that we could have had a little bit more detail coming out of the shadows, that's all. And again, the work is very well added that little border, that narrow border, which helps. And the positioning of the dummy with the costume on, and the desktop, if you like, the countertop coming from the right hand across the bound book, I think it is, the tied up book of some description, or there might even be bills for her dressmaking, I don't know. But that countertop, so to speak, takes one's eye in very, very nicely to the dressmaker and the dummy, the model. So yeah, 16.
And that's Frank's. Yes,
Right.
24. Aye, gum.
It's about right. It's roughly a third, isn't it?
Okie doke.
To be absolutely honest and quite frank with you, I think it would have been wrong to not keep that many back, because I honestly, seriously do believe that this 24 are worthy of, as they will be awarded, 18 at least. And on another day, even the 18s in a less of a stronger competition, entries in the competition could even have been in there with the 20s. Now then, Mike, will you just confirm you don't need an outright winner, do
No,
you?
we don't.
No. So we'll start with the 18s then. Yeah.
Right. Do you want to see them all on screen?
Yeah. Go on. Yeah. Yeah, that'll be useful.
Lost me. Right. Okay. So,
So working through them.
we'll
Yeah.
all like this.
Yeah.
Well, it's being good.
Right. So I'll give you all my 18s, starting from the top. And there's a few of them.
Right.
There is indeed a few of them. Okay. So the first 18, the starling fledgling being fed.
One.
Yeah.
18. And let's see. Yours. That's Andrea's.
Well done. The second 18 is the scrolling down, please. Oh, sorry, it's there. Is this insect here on the bottom left, the male
thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
A male fly. So that gets an 18.
That gets an 18.
And that is Andrea's.
The stable hand, that gets an 18.
And that is Ron's.
Telephone call, very, very good monochrome image of its type. That gets 18.
18. That's Karen's.
And preparation, please, Mike.
And that is Sandra's.
I just could, if I could just say so, I think if that had just been a slightly darker, it might have got a 19 or even a 20. It's just a little tad overly bright, I think. Certainly on my equipment anyway. Okay. The next 18 is the Joker.
18. That's Karen's.
The next 18 is Cuprina, the green bottle.
Bottle. 18. That one is Ron's.
On another night, it could have been a 19 or a 20, but it's up against some strong pictures. So that's an 18. And Mystical gets an 18.
Mystical 18. And that's Mark's.
Okay, now
Right.
the
Now.
the 19s. Okay,
We've got 60 left.
okay. Red-tailed Bumblebee gets a 19.
18. Bumblebee is by Andrea.
To capture a bumblebee like that in flight, heading towards or hovering towards those flowers, I think is remarkable. To get that detail in it, fantastic. Well done. So that's that one. The next 19 is Behind the Mask.
Us. And that one is by Eddie.
Okay. Moving on. Nymph in the Wood.
In the Wood. 18. And that's by Sandra.
I think I've missed one out. Can you scroll back up? Yeah, My Doctor gets a 19 as well.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
Right. 18. And that's Frank's.
And we've done Nymph in the Wood. Yep. Now the Blue Tits nesting material.
Blue Tip.
Okay. 19.
18. And that one's another of Eddie's.
And Revelations gets a 19.
18. And another of Eddie's.
The Saviour gets a 19.
And that one, Sandra's.
And last but not least for a 19 is California.
18. That one is
Right, now for your 20s.
Yep.
Right, well, these for me all score 20, all for reasons which I think I've already given, but just briefly to run through them. The Dragon Child.
What I'll do then, if it's all right with you, we'll just go through them one at a time on here.
Yep.
Oh.
Dragon Child.
Yep.
Super image.
Yep.
Well created and very, very competently created, if I may say so. And I just love that light behind the girl. It absolutely takes your eye to her, but it doesn't at the same time because it's fairly muted throughout the rest. With that misty cloudiness that we've got behind the creature and behind her, it doesn't take you away from the creature. That's well worth 20.
And that one is Eddie's.
Okay, and
Watching the visitors.
I'm going to give this 20 as well, because I think, again, you know, this has been quite well handled. Even though I said I would like to see it just a shade darker, that's taking nothing away from the overall content and the overall effect that gives one. Even now, when one looks at it, but certainly on first viewing, it captures you. It's you know, it's, I love the way the monkey's got his hands, his wrists across the other as well. You know, it's almost human-like in terms of the moment that's been captured, and the artistry that's been applied to it. I think just
Easy
enhances.
for you to say.
Yeah. Okay. Shut up, Keith.
And that's Sandra's.
Yep. And
Frosty Sunset.
Frosty Sunset. That is a cracking landscape shot in my view. We've got bags of interest throughout. The grass, the boulders, right away through to the top third, that little peninsula of land there that we've got stretching out with the building on and the trees, with that beautiful sunrise behind them just coming up. Lovely shot. 20.
Sunrise, Frosty Sunset is Jill's.
Okay.
Common damselflies mating.
Yeah, there's not a great deal more I can say about this image than I said when we were seeing it in the earlier stages of tonight's competition. It's superb, and yeah, great detail, good natural colours, well worth 20.
Damselflies are Andrea's.
And Lilith. Sorry, I missed one out, haven't I? Sorry. Joker's
tear. Yep.
Yeah. I find this image quite moving personally. It doesn't matter whether it's being enacted. It doesn't matter at all. It just captures one's attention immediately as being such a sad picture. And that's precisely what I think the worker wanted it to portray. And they've done it. They've done it for me admirably. Yeah, 20.
20. And that is Brianna's.
Wow. Well done. Well done, lady.
Very well done. First 20 in the first competition.
That is, I mean, it's a fabulous picture.
Right.
Right, next
one.
The red damselfly. And again, repeating myself, what I like about this is the fact we've got the whole of the creature. And in terms of reference, ideally that's what one wants from a nature shot. The whole of the bird, the whole of the insect, etc., etc. Beautifully detailed, great natural colours, superb. 20.
That one is Ron's.
And I think that leaves 2.
It does. Yep. Lilith.
Yeah. Again, you know, it doesn't matter to me that we can't see the pupils. We've just got that white penetrating stare that's been created. It works. It works an absolute treat, and she's standing out from the background, but at the same time, we're still getting the detail of the individuals looking equally threatening behind her, left and right. So compositionally great, atmospherically good image, well created. 20.
20, and that is by Eddie.
And last but not least,
we have yes, the cannibalism.
the cannibal fly. Another cracking nature insect macro shot. Superbly dealt with.
Number 20, and that is Gills. Right. Well, that is really quite amazing.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Keith. As always, it's been fantastic.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed it as hard as it's been. I've enjoyed it. It's been an absolute pleasure to see such good images, all from one club. Absolute credit to you. Well done, everybody. And just a word to those who maybe thinks they've not done as well as they thought they would. You know, I always say this, it's one person's opinion. I've tried to be constructive in commenting on where I think a picture could be improved. You might agree with that, you might not. You charge a judge with the responsibility of scoring your images for you, and we do it to the best of our ability, as best we can, with what knowledge we've got, and our own personal opinion on how we might have improved the image or not, as the case may be, if we'd taken the same image. And I think, you know, we only get to the level, if I may say so, that I've got to by listening to what others say about our pictures. That's how we learn. As good as we might be, as naturally gifted as we might be as photographers, it's good when other people like our pictures. It's a bonus. If they don't, then I think it's good that they give us a constructive opinion and critique of the images in question as they possibly can. And I hope I've done that for you fairly tonight. Thank you very much indeed.
No, thank you very much, Keith. And well done to everybody who got a 20 tonight, all well deserved. Brianna, absolutely fantastic. Well done.
Well done. Yeah.
I know. That's really, really good.
Fabulous.
So, okay, so that's it for tonight. Next week, we have got Gavin, who's disappeared from my screen.
I've got to do a talking.
I'm here.
Are you there?
I'm
Oh, there
I'm
you
here.
are.
Yes,
Right,
I'm here.
So next week we've got Gavin, who's going to, do you want to give us a little overview of what you're going to do?
Next week we'll be doing lighting the subject. So I'll go through sort of studio flash and also just a background on some lighting techniques as well. All coming from the studio. So you'll see something different next week.
Thank you. And then you need to start getting your images for the week after, which is an appraisal, and I can't remember, documentary photographs. That's it. So the week after, we've got a documentary images only for appraisal.
You can put stuff in that.
And then we start our summer school.
I've just noticed.
The deadline is for the appraisal.
Sorry?
Can I ask when the deadline is for the appraisal?
It will
Tuesday
be
midnight.
Sorry, Mike?
Tuesday midnight. Tuesday
Tuesday
before
midnight.
midnight.
Thank you.
Tuesday midnight.
I've just noticed Tony Green. That's the second time I've seen him this week. Good evening, Tony. Right. Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Thank you again.
Take care.
Good
Um,
night.
Keith.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
See next week.
Good
Look
night.
forward to next time. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Do, do, do.